everybody. We're entering the 9th week of the Wuhan flu World War. And the mainstream media has us more fearful and uncertain than ever. And that, of course, is their job. Today, we're going to discuss accountability from the Justice Department. And last week, Fred Satili's parting words were, "I'll see you next week." And as promised, he is back. So Fred Satili, thanks for coming on the show. We really appreciate it. Thank you for joining us. Well, thanks again for having me. I understand now we're confronted with a guy who wants to change the entire judicial process to suit the needs of his sponsors. Yes, that's exactly what he's doing, and it happens all the time. What we're going to do today is use his actions as a timely example of a timeless problem. Yeah, the timeless problem. Judges ignoring their oath, going rogue, with no accountability. Yeah, that's it exactly. They're constrained by law. But remember, we are not a nation of laws. We're a nation of permission. That actual fact, based in reality, must be remembered at all times. And it's hard because it's counterintuitive. Right. Hillary Clinton deleted subpoenaed emails in violation of the law, and we let her. She violated the law. It's a fact. The review of the case shouldn't take over 10 minutes. It ought to go like this. I'm going to be the judge. All right? How do I look? Okay. It should go like this. Hillary, do you have those emails that we subpoenaed? No? Why? You allowed them to be deleted. Well, you're a United States Senator. You know you violated the law. You know you're guilty. Now, the punishment for this is historically 2 to 5 years in jail. But since this is your first violation of this type, 2 years seems more appropriate. But considering that the intent here was to impede a very high-level investigation, and you were advised by lots of lawyers, 5 years seems more appropriate. Considering the validity of both arguments, the judgment is for 3.5 years in prison. Now, since you have a very large staff of people to handle your affairs, you're going to be ordered to begin your incarceration immediately. Bailiff, I don't know why we call them bailiffs, but we do. But you guys with the guns and the bulletproof vests and the handcuffs and everything, take this criminal directly to jail. Yeah, one of the problems is you're going to have to deal with her sycophantic following. Whoa, I wasn't done. The judge wears glasses, right? Upon release, you are issued a gag order from any public appearance in any personal or media form unless a complete confession is presented publicly with a sincere expression of contrition. Well, that sounds like your purpose here is to humiliate her. Just the opposite. The reason for this is not to humiliate. The reason for this is to restore credibility and integrity. Her accountability will make her whole again, as trustworthy. Oh, I forgot to put the glasses on. Well, the judge wears... forget the glasses. Anyway, you get the idea. Right? So you're saying so that she can be a leader again and not just a convict full of two-bit excuses. Exactly. Now we're going to talk about Emmet Sullivan. General Flynn's judge. You said his judge. But what is a judge? What is a judge's role in our legal system? A judge doesn't run the case. He doesn't begin the case. He comes in later. A prosecutor starts the case, and when he's ready, and only then, he presents it to a judge. Now, you have to understand, cases where the law is broken are not a case against the breaker and the victim of it. The case is against the law. So in other words, if I kill you and I go to court, The case is not me versus you. It's me versus the state. The prosecutor represents the state, and he is defending the rule of law. It's you against the violation of the law. When you're found guilty, you're not found guilty of killing somebody. You're found guilty of breaking the law against murder. Well, I don't know about that. What about Kramer versus Kramer? You hear that all the time. One person versus another person. Yeah, well, those are what are called civil matters. It's merely a fight over money. There's not a crime. There's just a need for restitution. So, say I run my lawnmower over the neighbor's roses. I haven't, killed anybody or anything, but he wants to have, being reimbursed for the value of the roses. And if I tell him I'm not going to do that, well, then he takes it to court. It's a civil matter. You're not charged with a crime. There's no prosecutor. There's just an argument on his behalf, an argument on my behalf. The judge listens to those, and he makes a ruling on what he thinks is fair. And that's when you have a situation, just like a divorce. It's a civil matter. There's no crime. It's just an argument over money. And that's when you have a case like Kramer versus Kramer. So for a crime to be prosecuted, a prosecutor in either the federal, state, or county jurisdiction has to take up the case because it's a crime against the law of that jurisdiction. Right. If a prosecutor doesn't take up the case, there is no case. No one ever prosecuted Hillary, so she skated. If you know while you're committing crimes that no one is going to prosecute you, you turn into Bill Cosby. And just look what it took to finally get that guy. The entirety of society had to change so much so that it was impossible for prosecutors to not go after that guy, and they didn't want to. We all knew who and what he was. But he knew that he had the juice to keep the wolves from the door. And that juice, by the way, is money, money, money. And that money is to pay lawyers to keep their hands off you. So it was probably plenty of times like, "We're coming after you, Bill." And he said, "Hold on, here's a couple $100,000 to keep away." And they said, "Oh yeah, no, that's fine. Hey, good luck with the ladies." I can picture it. Two things. General Flynn was set up. Now, the people who set him up are caught. So they've actually become the guilty party. Since they're the ones who are guilty, they're the ones that can be prosecuted. Flynn really can no longer be prosecuted. And because the prosecution recognizes that and has dropped the case completely, there's no opportunity for a judge to be involved in this at all. He's moot. It's not to that point yet, Without a prosecution, the case can't move on. In fact, do what you said you were going to do. Do what you said you want. You want to play judge this time. Do it like you said you were going to do it, because I thought it was funny. Oh, you want me to do it? Really? You want me to do it? Like, yeah, I have the stuff right here. Hang on a second. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. No prosecution? Case closed. No prosecution? Case closed. No prosecution? Case closed. Now let's get out of here. Anybody want to go for pizza? What about General Flynn? Who? The second thing is, will anyone prosecute these monkeys that set General Flynn up? If they don't, they skate? This is really a key moment in our talk. There's a subtlety here that needs to be understood. They have broken the law. If we are a nation of law, they must be prosecuted. If they are not prosecuted, then we are in fact a nation of permission. The key phrase is, in our society today, here in America, we have laws, but the key phrase is, we allow law to fail us. We're supposed to be protected equally by law, but we allow law to fail us. But it seems like a lot of people are saying Flynn did lie, and he actually is guilty of that, right? At least, right? Does the word coercion mean anything to you? He was forced to say those things because they threatened his family? Right, like the mafia would do. Will the law be brought to bear on the criminals? Extortion is a crime, In fact, now they're guilty of two things. First, they set him up, and then they extorted him. Yeah. So if Judge Sullivan is moot, if he's disqualified from participating, then why is he still talking? Because the extortionists got to him. Apparently, they rough up everybody. They probably did it before the case. Of course they did. He was put in place there. He knew his job. He knew his job was to take out General Flynn. He knew his job was to protect the former administration, because that administration is loaded with scandal and loaded with crime. So they got this guy. I don't know how they control him, but they put him in there. They gave him his marching orders. He's trying to execute them now, even though the game's over and he's no longer allowed on the field, But the real key here, and I think I heard Tucker Carlson saying this, was if he really was abused, he would be angry about that. His misguided rage is against General Flynn. His real rage, if it was really true, would be towards the extortionists that were beating him up. And now he's trying to make an issue of something that's virtually essentially a process crime, and that's a whole nother topic for a whole nother discussion. But we're not going to do that today. But I'm kind of feeling like a lousy host because I have you on as a guest and I'm doing most of the talking. But anyway, it's just a reprehensible situation. But I don't understand why there's not some governing body that just tells him to go the hell home. Just go home. You're done. Go home. He does, because we let him. He's protected by the media, and he will literally fight to the death to protect his, I don't want to say owners, his sponsors, his power base, his structure that's got him elevated into the position that he is. Just like Bill Cosby, powerful people are protected by other powerful people, and they probably prepared this guy and groomed him all the way since law school. I don't know any of this, but there's a structure to all this, and he's part of that structure. And the reason that you know this is because of the way he's acting. He's acting irrationally, and when you're acting irrationally, it's because you're compelled. and he is compelled. So the media is propping him up, and very powerful people are propping him up. But in reality, he's a conspirator. And though, because he's in a different branch of government, the judiciary, he may never be called forward for that conspiratorial connection, but it is there.
I don't see where we go from here.
You know, your problem is you're a little too long-winded. Okay, two things. First, he's got a great lawyer. He's got a tremendous lawyer. I don't think that lady can be had. I mean, we'll see, but I really have faith.
And the other?
Well, now you got it down to 3 words. The second thing is the Voters Union of Accountability Nation has to demand his resignation.
On what grounds?
Now you're messing with me. All right, look, on the fact that he has demonstrated an inability to understand his judicial limitations under law. You know, what he's doing here is, to parrot a phrase, is out of his purview. You know, that's the phrase they love to use when they don't want to take responsibility for anything or ask any question. They disqualify themselves from responsibility, don't they?
Yeah, he's not going to resign. He's not going to resign.
No, he must be compelled to. That's what the Voters Union of our accountability nation is all about. From this time forward, no lawyer should allow him to hear a case. Everyone must demand a clean judge, a not tainted judge. I don't think that's too much to ask. I think it's something that rightfully should be demanded.
Okay, I know you try to put a time limit on these shows. Are we starting to run long?
Yeah, well, we are on a little bit long, and you certainly can't be blamed for stretching it out. But I can't help it, because this is how long it takes to discuss something like this. You know, there's a large ethics issue here, and you never hear it on the news because the news is trying to reach people who have an attention span of about 10 seconds, you know? People who can be manipulated, with sound bites, with bumper stickers. And thank God we have a forum where we can discuss these things.
You have a lot more to say on this subject, don't you?
You bet I do. I mean, I talked about Hillary's guilt, and you don't think Obama has clean hands in all of this, do you?
Right, I know. Well, I got the message, and I know you want to let my people go and let me go as well, so I'm out for now. See you next time.
Well, right. You're right. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for hanging in there. I really appreciate it. This is Fred Satilli signing off. We'll see you again next week. Thank you all very much.